Hello. Any question from last week? Okay, you don't have any question from last week. And then my another plan is uploading kind of weekly flow video. It will be every Sunday to show what's the five elemental flow on each day for 1 week. And I'll start from tomorrow and upload that once a week about the weekly five element flow. All right, if you don't have any question, I will just start today's live. I will start from terminology about yin or yang first, and then talk about the dominant energy that we have covered last week. I'll make a summary of that and talking about the year of 2022 a little bit. Okay, and then always the question is always welcome, so you can ask any question anytime. So let's get started from the terminology. I think I made some confusion about yin and yang, and everybody actually is confused about that in the beginning. I was also like that because we can put yin or yang to any kind of stuff. Sometimes the same character could be yin, sometimes same character could be yang. That's one confusion, so I want to make some terminology to reduce the misunderstanding. So first, you might already know about the yang stem, yin stem. So this is the first yin and yang separation. When I say about yin or yang, about the plus or minus, right? If I put plus, that is yang stem, or in the branch, in the earthly branch, if I put plus, that will be yang branch. If I put in, that is in stem or in branch. So that's the first method that I put yin and yang. So there are 10 kind of heavenly stem, 5 yang stem, 5 yin stem. And there are 12 kinds of earthly branches, so there are 6 kinds of yang branches and 6 kinds of yin branches. So that's the first. And the second method that I put yin and yang is, you already know that I always say the wood and fire are yang element and metal, water are yin element, but I didn't really put element before. I just say yin or yang. So somebody asked me that the red should be yang, but why I say yin like that? So in this case, I will always put the yang element as the wood and fire and yin element as metal and water. And the earth is in the middle. It's a mediator between the yang element and yin element, but the wu earth on the heavenly stem tends to be in the yang side, and the ji earth on the heavenly stem tends to be in the inside because it's a little bit damp, cool earth, and wu earth is more like dry, big mountain earth, but not always. And on the earthly branches, those two, the Shu Earth and Chun Dragon, those are yang branch when I separate yin and yang as a plus and minus. But in the element, the four earth all have yin and yang aspect, but if I consider the fire or wood as a yang, the dog and goat tends to have more yang energy, and the dragon and ox has more yin aspect because it contains water and contains the metal. And if we think about the seasonal energy, that's a little bit different. So it's not always, dog is not always yang, dragon is not always yin. The left side, the yang element tends to have wood and fire more, and the right side yin element has metal and water more. And again, Earth has both yin and yang aspect. They are kind of connecting those yin and yang. So that's the terminology. I said principle 1, 2, 3 last week, and then I try to put them all together. So let's talk about each daily master, like wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. For the wood daily master, it will be Jia wood or Yi wood. And I don't really separate those two right now. It's just wood daily master. Daily master side that I explained about my side should be water and wood. That is mother and friendship element, mother spirit and friendship spirit. And another term is the water is input as the generating cycle and the wood itself. So that is my side. And the other three elements are the other side. When you look at someone's chart or your chart, if the wood daily master has more water or wood element, that makes the chart strong. And if the wood daily master has more fire or more earth, more metal, these make the chart weaker. I tend to separate weak chart and strong chart first, then I can determine which yin is better, which yin is not. That's really important to figure out strength. But if we divide by 5, that's a little bit more complicated. So I just put this 2 as a just strong side, this 3 as a weak side. And we talk about the principle 3 about yin and yang, like the chart has more yin or more yang. In this case, it's not very clear. The chart has more yang doesn't mean chart is weak or strong, because in the my side, it has both yin and yang here. And the other side, there's fire as yang, there's also metal as yin, there's earth. So it's not very clear for wood daily master as yin and yang method. And for fire daily master, again, the my side is more wood and fire element, and the other side is earth, metal, and water. For fire, the wood should be mother as an input source, and fire is friendship spirit as myself. And the wood fire makes fire daily master stronger, and earth, metal, water make the chart weak. In terms of yin and yang, this is really clear. The yang element as wood fire is more my side, more daily master side for fire daily master. So if fire has more wood or fire or more yang elements, that would be strong chart. And if fire daily master has more yin aspect as metal or water, that would be more weak chart. That's very clear. And for earth daily master as wu earth or ji earth, the my side, daily master side, should be fire and earth as mother and friendship. Those fire and earth makes the earth daily master's chart stronger, and either metal or water or wood, those 3 elements make the chart weak. In the case, it's not very clear, but we can see those 2 yin aspects are on the other side, which makes the earth daily master's chart weak. So if the earth person has more yin aspect, the chart could be weaker side. And yang as fire, this is not very clear, but I tend to see wood and fire as one team sometimes. So if the yang is dominant for earth daily master, I kind of start to think about, oh, this chart could be strong. But that's true, the fire is the key for the earth chart to be a strong chart. And next, the metal daily master is gung metal and shin metal. And my side also mother as earth and friendship as metal. That is daily master's side who make the chart strong. And water, wood, and fire, those 3 elements make the chart weak. In yin and yang aspect, now the 2 yang elements, the wood and fire, tend to make the metal daily master's chart weak. And yin is not very clear. The metal is in the my side as daily master side, and water is in the other side. For metal daily master, I start thinking about if the chart has more yang aspect or not to figure out the chart is weak. And for the strong chart, the earth is the key to support the metal daily master. For water daily master, that's also clear as the fire, the metal water as yin element makes the chart strong, definitely. And then yang element as the wood fire make the chart weak. And earth also make the chart weak for water daily master. And let's talk about the year of 2022. Any questions so far? Okay, let's get started about 2022. We talked about that before, the last week, a little bit. I'll just explain a little bit about the number here. Those numbers are the order of each pillar. What do you think about wood and metal chart? I don't know, the question is not clear, I think. Yeah, but I will just keep going. So there are 60 kinds of pillar. You don't need to really think about calculate or anything about this, but there are 60 kinds of pillars. So that's the number of the order. This year is rainwater tiger. That is 39th pillar from the beginning. So that number is like that, the order of the pillar. And then this is the corresponding years. And this is for sure the animal. Okay. Our yang metal, day in wood, monkey yang wood, year in wood. That's your chart? I'm not sure, but if day and month and years are all wood and hourly pillar is yang metal, that's really strong wood chart. As we learned last week, we just divide the heavenly stem area and then earthly branches area, and then start from earthly branch first. And we can see last 3 years are all water time, 海之秋, that is like water. And then from this year, 2022, the wood begins. Now wood is governing the earthly branches. So that's kind of the big picture that we can see. Okay, so in this year, we have gone through the water time and then now we start the wood time. So that's why I said the earthly branches are really important, because if the earthly branch is water, I consider that year is water. And if the earthly branch is wood, like this year, tiger, I consider this year is totally wood year. And then next we can see the heavenly stem's energy is supporting earthly branch or get supported or controlled, like the year of 2019. And that's the next step. But the first, we have to recognize this year and next year and then 2024 as well. Those 3 years are wood element. That's the first one. And let me look at the chat real quick. Does it always go in the same order for every cycle? Hour, day. Alice, do you mean this pillar's order? Like the yearly pillar follows this order and the monthly pillar follows, yeah, this pillar. Yeah, so all the year and month and day and hour, those 4 pillars follow this order, but separately. There we can find a correlation between year and month and day and hour, but they kind of move separately. So there are 60 kinds of pillar. There are 6 kinds of yearly pillar, 60 monthly pillar, 60 daily pillar, 60 hourly pillar, in the same order of that. So theoretically, there is 60 multiply 60 multiply 60 multiply 60 kinds of charts in the world. Maybe plus 2. No, multiply 2 because yin or yang. No, male or female. Or yin or yang. I'll say yin or yang. So a lot of kinds of chart. But that's theoretical. The real chart is like one pillar can only have 12 pillar. Like 1 year, like this year, there are only 12 months. So only 12 months can come with this year. This is more accurate. And time as well. There are 12 kinds of time in the day. Yeah, that would be more accurate. So let's come back to this. That's the first thing we want to think about. Water has governed last 3 years, and then now the wood begins. And then we think about heavenly stem. The year of 2020 and 2021, is all metal, so I will just put big metal here. I'll put big water here. And then now big wood cycle is starting. So if you see the last 3 years, it's really strong in years. They were really strong in years because it was water. It was water, but metal comes on the heavenly stem. So what metal generates the water. And I said metal and water are both in element. So those were really strong in period of time. And then yin is kind of contracting. Yin is doing contracting action, and it stores the yang qi. And then it is kind of opposite from expanding. It is the energy from the fall. It's like harvesting, separating, and then choose what is really genuine or not, what is really useful or not, and then store that for the next spring. And next spring means the wood energy, and that is starting from this year. The expanding time is starting from right now. It was really contracted by this metal and water for a couple years. Maybe you guys saw the last year's video about the big picture of 2021. A lot of contracting energy is building up powerful repulsive energy. Let me show you one video. So it's like that. From the Cho Earth is last year's energy, and Inwood Tiger is this year. And then from Cho Earth, the red in the circle is the amount of yang energy. Black is the amount of yin energy. So yang is expanding and yin is kind of decreasing right now. From the Inwood to the goat. It's kind of the beginning of initiating the new force, initiating the new springtime. Maybe here is the tiger's energy. Right now, the yang is not really expanded yet, but it was grown. It has been grown from here to here. This is Cho Earth energy. Yang is really small, and then now it is kind of in the middle. That's right now. I will come back to this. I want to find one hexagram. In the Cho Earth, the yang qi is really small. This one represents this image. There are 4 yangs with 4 yin energy with 2 yang energy. The yin energy is kind of suppressing the yang, and then the yang energy is kind of smaller than the yin, and then that is this one. Yang is smaller than yin. And then when it comes to the tiger, there will be one more yang, like that. So now yang energy is similar to the amount of yin energy. Can you see that? 3 versus 3. That's kind of balanced picture. Yeah, so Inwood tiger's energy is balanced. Here to here, maybe. About here. Yang has been grown a little bit more, and then now it is almost similar to the yin energy. Because the Inwood tiger's energy is like February in the northern hemisphere. February is still cold, but all the sprouts start coming out. You can imagine the action that sprouts are coming out is not really aggressive. It is like very slow and very careful. It doesn't really explosively arise. It's really slow and steady, and then it looks like really a weak creature, but the force is strong. So what I want to say is the Inwood tiger's yang energy is not really exploded yet. It is still coming out. It's a baby yang. It is still come from really deep winter time, and then now it is just making a balance with the yin energy. But many people think, okay, now the new spring is started, so I will explode all of my yang. So many people think they already have this amount of yang. It is their hope, not the reality. Like they still have this amount. So they have to be carefully go step by step, and then not really aggressively move to other place or quit this job and then move to another job, or just start a new business. I don't care anything, or I will just invade other country, like that kind of mind. But it should be more balanced. But depending on people's personality, depending on your chart, little initiating movement can happen like this, and then suddenly they don't look at anything on the side and then just look at the front and then just go for that. The failure happens from that. We have to go carefully, and then that is the meaning of the water, like that. Like we are now in the wood time period, but there is still water that has come from last 3 years. The yearly pillars energy is saying that you are still a baby. You are not. We talked about last week that I would want to go out, but mother doesn't want to go out, like that. But like water is still holding up the wood's energy, and talk about just be careful. Just be careful, and then be really calculative. Now you are kind of equal to the yin energy. Now it's not the time yet to really push your force. How can you apply seasonal changes over a 12-year period? I see, I think you explained already. Okay, yeah. If I'm wrong, just let me know, but I will try to explain. This is how this system think about the seasonal energy. From tiger, rabbit, wood, plus dragon, those three are considered as spring, as a wood energy. And then snake, horse, and goat, those three energies are summer as fire. Oh, this is not the balance. And the monkey, metal, and rooster and dog are considered as fall energy as metal. And boar, rat, and ox are considered as winter time as water. So we have gone through these 3 years in terms of the yearly flow. So that's 3 years. And then now we are starting from tiger for another 3 years for springtime. Hello, Quartz, watching from Singapore. Okay, thank you for joining. Yeah, that's what I mean. We are now just initiating the spring's energy, and some people try to use that spring energy to really go forward, really push forward, really go to the limit of the yang qi, because we have been suppressed by this yin energy too much for last 3 years, plus the pandemic situation. Everybody is kind of constrained. Everybody was suppressed. Everybody was complaining about the situation or whatever, their job or the relationship, anything. So everyone should be suppressed and suffered. So their kind of inner suppression kind of starts coming out from the tiger this year. So that could be really explosive. That's what I want to say. Okay, and in terms of the seasonal energy, there is a seasonal combination. When someone's chart has the 3 characters together, tiger and rabbit and dragon, that has really strong wood energy. For example, if somebody has 2 tiger, maybe if somebody has tiger and rabbit, and if this person meets the dragon time, it is called the seasonal combination of the wood. So it means stronger wood energy. And then other elements are like that. So if a person has these 3 characters, it shows really strong fire energy. If a person has monkey, rooster, dog at the same time, it's really strong metal energy. And if a person has the boar, rat, and ox, it's really strong winter energy. So the question before about the yang metal for the year and daily yin wood and monthly yang wood, I'm not sure you talked about the earthly branches, but let me just make an example. Yeah, if this is the year, month, day, and hour, this could be really strong wood energy because it has already 2 characters of spring. If this kind of chart meets dragon through the year or through the Dayan, it creates the tiger, rabbit, dragon seasonal combination, and then it gives a lot of wood energy. And rain. can we apply the Bazi for house, or precisely how can we define the element of the house? So my question is, define how can you define the element of the house? Yeah. Like we can figure out the dominant energy of our chart and then what we need as a Yongshan. My question is, so how to determine the house's element? That's, I don't know. Yeah. I just look at the house as in a general sense, like the good house is always good for everyone. Usually, the really bad house, like the damp house or wet, the light is not really coming through. Then inside of the house looks really dark. Those kind of houses usually not good for everyone. So like feng shui is a little bit different from the reading Bazi. Like there are the theory that the certain years person has to like slip towards like certain direction, like that kind of theory that doesn't really match with Bazi, I think. It is kind of symbolic interpretation, I think. For me, like the city-wise as well, like good city is always good. Like, yeah. But we can say like you have like this 4 element. So it is wood dominant, right? We just say this is full of wood chart. So if you have a lot of wood, usually the opposite side of the energy, the metal, should be the Yongshin. Or if you use fire, fire could be Yongshin as well. So if I think this chart needs more fire, maybe I will say go to or move to the fire area, the southern area. Or if I decide, oh, this chart needs more metal energy, so I just tend to say go to the west, metal as a west. But that's kind of not very clear. I cannot really determine, or I cannot really check that person is doing well in those direction or not. So that's kind of unknown. That is same. If the year is rabbit, the year is rabbit, month is tiger, it is no different from energy-wise. The energy-wise, it is no different from this. Anyway, those two looks really similar. Those two are wood dominate chart. So I'll say it's almost same, almost similar. Maybe precise meaning of the tiger and rabbit should be different, but in a big picture, that is really similar person, I will say. So the principle like that, like we talk about this daily master's dominant energy. For the wood daily master, water and wood, this side make the chart strong, right? If we think the chart is strong because of water or wood, or water and wood at the same time, if the chart is strong, we want to choose the Yongshan in one of 3. The chart might be able to want fire as a Yongshan, or earth as a Yongshan, or metal as a Yongshan. And then my interpretation is these 3, anything in these 3 can come, and then it is at least better than water and wood if the wood chart is strong with water dominant or wood dominant. The same thing, the fire, and then the other one. Like if the chart is weak, either fire, either earth, either metal dominant picture, and then if the chart is weak in the wood daily master, these 2 energy could be the Yongshan. Water is fine for weak wood daily master chart, or wood can be also really helpful for the weak chart, any kind of weak wood chart. And same thing here, if fire is strong, that chart needs the other side's energy. And then if the fire chart is weak, that chart needs the wood and fire energy, the daily master's side. So the strength is really important to decide any kinds of decision, because we can choose what is good or what is bad. And then that is why we want to learn this, if this year is good for me or not good for me, like that. So if we guess the fire daily master is dominant with wood and fire energy, let me make just simple chart. if we say, let me just make it clear. So if one's chart looks like that, it is impossible chart. Just an example. This looks really wood-fire dominant chart for fire daily master. There are a bunch of wood and fire, more fire, and then we said wood and fires are fire daily master's side, my side, and then that makes the chart strong. And when this kind of chart meets the year of 2022, this wood, I said this year is really wood energy. And then this wood energy is adding up the strength. There are a bunch of my side energy and then more my side adding up. We can now determine, oh, this year might be not balanced for this chart. But if this kind of chart meets water energy, metal and water, or we can say water first as an earthly branch, and then next the metal together, wood fire dominant chart meets the metal energy or water energy. We can just immediately think, oh, this year might be really positive for this chart. That's the method. We have to start thinking about good year or bad year, good fortune or bad fortune, like that. Thank you, Will. We can apply this method to every daily master. I know we really want to know this year is good for me or not, right? So we can at least put this method to figure out this year is really helpful or not. And then if it's really helpful, you can just use that energy to just go through, not really explosively, but if this year is really not really helpful for this chart, we have to be really careful about our decision so we can make a balance like that. Any other question? Okay. What happens if a chart lacks one element completely? Min Young from BTS has no fire. Okay. Oh no. Are you a fan of BTS? Since you talk about his chart, I will just bring his chart. I cannot find his name actually. Let me just bring. Okay, March. Alright. Oh no. Give me 1 second. I feel like he has fire in the chart because the Korean time is kind of 30 minutes behind from the real time. So 7:30 could mean 7 a.m. But anyway, I'll make his chart. Just give me a little time. So the year is Greywater Rooster. The monthly pillar is Ewood Rabbit. Daily pillar is G Earth Ox. And the hourly pillar is... That's what you found? I think he has this time. Just personally, I think this time is right time for him. It's not very clear. We have to really determine his hourly pillar, but let's just think about this is his chart. If we divide the heavenly stem and earthly branches, we can see there are 2 earth, 1 wood, and then is a wood month. So wood could be strong. Wood could be strong portion, and then 1 metal. But there are 2 earth here, so I will say this chart could be earth dominant. With heavenly stem, this is more earth dominant. With not very weak, and then there are metal and water here. So there's no fire here. We can say there's no fire. If this chart is right, I will delete this one. And I got a similar question as you asked. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So we can see wood, earth, metal, and water's energy here, and then there's no fire. I just want to figure out what kind of picture that I have is helpful for explaining. But anyway, if we think about the 5 elements of this chart, there's no fire here. No fire. Maybe we can draw maybe this amount of earth. Maybe. We think the earth is like that. There's maybe 1 metal here and water here. Metal is in the earthly branch, so I will draw metal a little bit bigger than water. But anyway, water gets supported by this metal as well. And then wood, I will say second bigger. It is bigger than this metal, but smaller than this earth. And then fire, if the chart doesn't have any fire, I'll start from small fire first and then look at the dynamic of the 5 element. So we all know, I guess, the generation cycle of the 5 element. So like this, like there are a lot of earth energy here, and the metal was like that, but metal gets supported by this strong earth. So metal could be bigger than this. Metal could be bigger than this a little bit. Same method. Fire, there's no fire here, but there is still like second biggest energy as a wood. So this amount of wood is still generating the fire. This amount of wood is still generating fire. So fire could be a little bit bigger than this one, but fire also generates earth, right? This big earth. So fire gets smaller again, like that. And it is no different from the chart has fire or not. If there is fire like here, maybe I will draw similar picture, maybe a little bit bigger. The crux I want to say is don't just count the number of the 5 element in the chart, but just try to see the dynamic of the 5 elemental flow. Which one really controls which element, and then which one really generates which element. So the absence of the element doesn't mean that chart is weak. In this case, the earth could be seen as unbalanced since it over controls the other small water and reduces the non-existent energy. Yeah, definitely true. So because earth is really big in this chart, this earth controls the water effectively, but not directly. Direct means just side by side. If water is here, it was like directly controlled by earth. Water is at least a little bit far from the ear. So the influence of earth is a little bit decreased, but still earth controls water a lot. And then that's true. The biggest energy is called dominant energy that makes the chart imbalanced. And then in this case we define the earth element. If the daily master is earth, my side is fire and earth. So either fire or earth makes the chart stronger. And so what I think is, if the earth is already strong like this chart doesn't need fire anymore, because fire only just add up my side energy, which means dominant energy, and at the same time daily master's energy. Yeah, fire can make this chart more imbalanced. So I think the percentage of this chart is like that. Yeah, wood and fire almost similar, but earth could be stronger than this, so I will just delete it. Yeah, but like this. Just one more example. If I see this kind of chart, there's no fire, but now all other elements are absent, but wood is like that. See, now the dominant energy becomes wood, like wood becomes the dominant energy. So in this case, there's no fire, but I will still consider this fire is really strong because of the mother. And whenever the fire ear or fire yun comes, this can be a really strong fire, just right away. Oh, I was thinking about that. In this case, it's best to forget the fire and not seek it. Metal could be a good way to balance things, since it creates water, takes energy from earth and controls wood. That's the right thinking. Since we decide the earth is the dominant energy, now we can do the binary thinking, like, because we decide the earth is strong with earth, so we can say the chart can use either metal or either water or either wood, whatever it comes. So it can use wood because wood is kind of primary here. It can be directly usable for this earth. So this chart can use earth first, and then metal, water, this chart can use metal, water more than fire. yeah, fire is the least usable, and metal and water is kind of, I cannot make it as an order, because depending on the dian, depending on the yearly yin, you can switch up what to use. Like you can use metal, you can use water, you can use wood. But firstly, I think this chart uses the wood as a primary, because it is closer to the daily master, and then it's bigger. It is bigger than other energy. So maybe a little bit about water, giving more water might be helpful. Good thing for strong chart is strong chart can use at least 3 elements. And then if the chart is weak, the weak chart can only use 2 elements for make the chart balanced. That's the advantage of strong chart, because they can use either wood or water or metal. So Wilson, the previous chart means this chart or that? Yeah, I would say water to wood dynamic is the best for this. But at the same time, metal to water is fine. Metal to water might be good for making money, because the water is the wealth spirit for this chart. For the earth, water is wealth spirit. So if the chart uses the water energy more, that means that period of time, if the water dian comes or water year comes, that chart is kind of oriented by kind of money making, wealth making, like that. But if the chart try to use the honor spirit as a wood, it is more like thinking about the group. How can I survive in this group? How can I play a role in this group? That is the meaning of honor spirit. That is like belong to something, and then it's like honor, like how my group or how myself is more like showing up in the world. It is about the kind of the title making. That's kind of different depending on what kind of element that chart uses. Check you, wood controls the earth daily master, so wood controls the daily master. And Alice, he did make a lot of money in these last few years. Yes, because last 3 years was water. That's why that chart has a lot of money. In a simply thinking, yeah, we can think about because of water. Yeah, the chart made a lot of money. And then control doesn't mean bad or good. For the strong chart, control is really good. Controlled by the element, or I control some element, that is both good for the strong chart. Strong chart always first want to control, and the weak chart wants to get supported. That's right, generating wealth cycle. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but as I said, if the chart is the next time period like that, this one's even better. I think this one's even better than Wu Earth Dragon, because it has fire in it. So the strength doesn't change. 2 earth versus 1 earth, 1 fire, kind of similar to this chart to make the daily master strong. But I think no matter. I have to wrap up for today. Any the final questions you have? I have another meeting in a few minutes. All right. I will see you guys next week, same time on Saturday at 7 p.m. Just try to bring a lot of questions. I like questions. And I plan to make one video once a week about showing the weekly flow based on the 5 element. So I will upload that tomorrow on Sunday, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you. This was Dr. Jaden. I will see you guys next week. Yeah, bye-bye.